The 5 a.m. wake-up call. You want power? Stop hitting snooze. It's 5 a.m. in ancient Rome. The streets are silent. The empire still sleeps. But one man is already awake. Not because someone told him to. Because he chose it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, strategist. A man with the weight of a collapsing world on his shoulders, and yet, he starts his day before sunrise, not with battle plans, not with political schemes, but with reflection. Not a scroll in his hand, his mind. And this ancient habit? It might just be your modern advantage, because while most people react to the day, you could design it. While others wake up to noise, you could wake up to clarity, and while the world chases power outside, Marcus found it within, starting at 5 a.m. But here's the twist. You think waking up early is about discipline? Maybe. But for Marcus, it was about survival, mental survival, strategic survival, a sacred hour to prepare his mind for chaos. This isn't about being a morning person. This is about training your mind before the world trains it for you. So let me ask you, what if your alarm clock was the most powerful weapon you've never used? Stick around, because in the next 25 minutes, you'll learn exactly how Marcus Aurelius mastered his mornings, using timeless philosophy, psychological strategy, and one simple shift that could change the way you start every day. Let's be honest. Most mornings feel like war. You wake up. Notifications hit like bullets. Emails, deadlines, demands. Before your feet touch the ground, you're already on the defensive. But what if you could flip the script? Not with a productivity hack, not with a positive quote, but with a battle-tested routine from a Roman emperor who ruled through plagues, betrayals, and war, and still carved out clarity every single morning. Marcus Aurelius didn't start his day by reacting. He started it by reclaiming. One sacred hour, no distractions, just focus, reflection, and strength. And here's what's wild. Modern neuroscience backs him up. At 5 a.m., your brain is sharper. Your cortisol peaks. Your decisions improve. Your mindset locks in. What Marcus practiced 2,000 years ago is now confirmed by science. This isn't about being a morning person. It's about becoming a strategic one. In this video, you'll learn how to apply the 5 a.m. mindset of Marcus Aurelius in your modern life, using Stoic philosophy, psychology, and 5 practical tools that can transform the way you start your day. No gimmicks, no fluff, just timeless strategy. By the end of this video, you won't just know how to wake up earlier. You'll know how to wake up with fire, with intention, with personal power, because you weren't born to react, you were born to lead. Let's go back in time. The year is 170 AD. The Roman Empire is on fire, literally and metaphorically. Plagues sweep the streets. Barbarians push the borders, senators whisper betrayal, and in the middle of it all, a man sits alone before dawn. He is not plotting revenge. He is not checking messengers. He is writing. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, leader of a crumbling empire, is reflecting. Not for show, not for social approval, but for survival. With the world falling apart, he turns inward. And every morning, before the chaos begins, he claims 1 hour, an hour of silence, of focus, of sharpening his mind. That hour became his secret weapon, his unshakable advantage. In Meditations, he writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.'" He wasn't rising to check tasks. He was rising to remember who he was. Why? Because Stoicism is not just a philosophy. It's a system for mental warfare. It teaches that while the world is out of your control, your response is not. For Marcus, the early morning was sacred ground, a mental battlefield, a time to prepare, not just for meetings or decisions, but for life itself. And here's the key insight. He treated his mind like a fortress. Mornings were the gate, the alarm clock, a signal that the siege was coming. Distractions, emotions, demands, they'd try to storm the walls. But before they arrived, Marcus was already inside, reinforcing the structure, rebuilding discipline, sharpening clarity, laying mental bricks of courage and reason. Now let's fast forward. In 2025, you may not face plagues or barbarian invasions, but you're under siege just the same. Social media, toxic bosses, fear of missing out, fear of not being enough. Every morning, before your brain even boots up, the world starts knocking. That's why your 5 a.m. matters. It's your chance to build your fortress before the first arrow flies. Now here's a common mistake. Many people confuse Stoicism with modern self-help. Self-help says, visualize success, attract good vibes, feel good, and good things will follow. Stoicism says, prepare for reality, accept what you cannot control, focus on what you can. One paints the battlefield pink, the other hands you a sword. Stoicism doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you choose to do, despite how you feel. That's why Marcus didn't meditate for calm. He meditated for combat. He didn't wake up for peace. He woke up for readiness. This is the part most people miss. Waking early wasn't about productivity. It was about sovereignty, about claiming the only hour that truly belonged to him before everyone else tried to take it. This is where Nietzsche joins the conversation. Centuries later, Nietzsche would write about the will to power, the internal drive to overcome, to affirm life, to rise above comfort. At first glance, it seems opposite to Stoicism. Stoicism says, accept what is. Nietzsche says transcend it. But look deeper. When Marcus got out of bed at 5 a.m., he wasn't surrendering to duty. He was asserting his will, choosing to face reality instead of escape it. That is will to power in practice. So we now have a fusion. From Marcus, serenity, discipline, presence. From Nietzsche, energy, creation, force. Together, they teach this. Win the morning, and you reclaim authorship over your day. Lose it, and you become a character in someone else's script. Let's make it vivid. Picture two people. One wakes up to an alarm, hits snooze 3 times, checks messages, scrolls Instagram. Their mind? Already invaded. The other wakes up with intention. No screen, just a journal, a breath, a question. Who do I need to be today? One is reactive. One is sovereign. Marcus chose sovereignty. And here's the beautiful irony. He ruled the Roman Empire. But he started his day by ruling himself. So now the question comes to you. You may not wear a crown, but you still have a kingdom. Your energy, your emotions, your focus. The gate opens every morning. What will you let in? Let's shift gears. You've heard the philosophy. Now let's talk reality. Because waking up early sounds noble, until the alarm rings and your bed feels like a sanctuary. Until your brain whispers, 5 more minutes won't hurt. Until discipline becomes a debate. So how do we take Marcus Aurelius's 5 a.m. mindset and actually apply it in 2025? Let's start with the enemy, reactivity. Most people wake up and immediately react to messages, to noise, to stress. Your nervous system gets hijacked before your consciousness even boots up. This is how you lose control of your day, by never claiming it in the first place. Marcus Aurelius knew this pattern. That's why he built a counter-strategy, a mental fortress first thing in the morning. But here's the truth. Philosophy alone isn't enough. We need tools. We need neuroscience. We need story. So meet Rachel. She's 33, a product manager in Chicago. Smart, ambitious, always chasing deadlines. Her mornings? Total chaos. Phone in hand, coffee on the go. Anxiety in full swing by 7 a.m. She feels like she's drowning in her own life. Until one night, she reads a quote from Meditations. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not in the power of others to disturb your peace of mind. It hits her. Her mornings aren't just rushed, they're surrendered. So she tries something radical. She sets the alarm for 5 a.m. She gets up. No phone. No noise. Just her journal. A candle. And one question. What will I create today instead of consume? At first it's awkward, but by the 5th day, something clicks. The chaos doesn't disappear, but now she meets it armed. Her morning becomes her anchor. Her mood stabilizes. Her thinking sharpens. She starts leading meetings instead of reacting to them. Her team notices. Her anxiety drops. She feels like she's leading her life again. This is not a miracle. It's cognitive priming. In applied psychology, your first conscious hour has an outsized impact on the rest of your day. It sets the baseline for your focus, emotional regulation, and decision-making. What you think, feel, and do in that hour becomes your trajectory. When you start with intention, your brain patterns shift. You increase dopamine through goal clarity. You activate the default mode network, responsible for imagination and reflection. You strengthen the prefrontal cortex, your willpower command center. Let's make it more tactical. Imagine 2 mornings. Scenario A. You wake up at 7 a.m., snooze 3 times, grab your phone, scroll Instagram, check email. You already feel behind. You rush. Your brain goes into survival mode, cortisol spikes. You're not leading your day, you're reacting to it. Scenario B. You wake up at 5 a.m. No screen. You breathe, you write, you stretch, you review your priorities, you step into the day with clarity. Cortisol works in your favor, not against you. You control your focus, your mood, your energy. Which version wins in the long run? Now let's bring in Nietzsche. He spoke of eternal recurrence, the idea that every action should be worth repeating for eternity. Imagine living the same morning over and over. Would you be proud of how you start? Because that's what's happening. Every day is a loop. You're either strengthening your chaos or your clarity. Marcus didn't have email. He had wars, but he still carved out space for reflection. Why? Because clarity is the one weapon that doesn't dull with use. In fact, it sharpens you. Let's shift to another modern story. Derek, 29, software engineer in Austin. Brilliant, but burned out. He tells himself he doesn't have time for reflection, until his therapist challenges him. What if burnout isn't from working too much, but from thinking too little about what you're working for? So Derek starts waking at 5 a.m. No pressure, just presence. He writes 1 line each morning. What do I need to face today that I've been avoiding? Over time, this single question transforms him. He stops avoiding feedback, stops numbing his anxiety with screens, starts building deeper relationships at work, gets promoted not because he worked more, but because he worked wiser. This is the Stoic way. Stoicism doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means channeling it, using it, owning it. And mornings are the perfect time to train that skill. Let's get clinical for a moment. Psychological concept. Ego depletion. Your willpower gets weaker throughout the day. Like a muscle, it tires with use. Which means your best self is available early. If you wait till 3 p.m. to plan your life, you're running on fumes. So why 5 a.m.? Because it's before the world barges in. Before noise invades your thinking. Before urgency replaces meaning. You don't have to be a monk. You just have to care enough to start your day with intention instead of inertia. Now here's a twist. Most people fail at early mornings because they focus on motivation. Bad move. Motivation is fleeting. Psychology confirms this. What works is identity. If you see yourself as not a morning person, you'll sabotage the habit. But if you shift identity, I am someone who leads my day with power, the brain aligns with that belief. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake early because it was easy. He woke early because he saw himself as a guardian of reason. His morning was his ceremony of becoming. And what about you? Who do you become when no one is watching? Because that's what mornings are, the mirror of your mind. No filters, no applause, just you. And you either own that hour or the world will own you. Let's finish this section with one last example. Nina, 35. Single mom. Works 2 jobs in New Jersey. Life is hard. Time is tight. But after hearing a podcast on Stoicism, she makes one change. Wake at 5 a.m., just 15 minutes earlier. She uses that time to write 3 things. What she's grateful for. 1 value she wants to live today. 1 distraction she'll avoid. It sounds small. But over months, that tiny shift builds resilience. She becomes calmer, more focused. Her kids notice. Her energy changes. Her co-workers respond differently. This is compounding clarity. Because here's the secret. You don't need a mansion or silence or a library of scrolls. You need a notebook, a decision, and a willingness to meet yourself at dawn. Marcus did it under threat of war. You can do it under threat of distraction. Power isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one morning at a time. You've got the philosophy. You've seen the stories. Now it's time to get tactical. Because watching a video doesn't change your life. What you do next does. This section is your map. Simple tools, grounded in Stoic discipline and backed by psychology, to help you build a 5 a.m. ritual that actually sticks. No fluff, no overwhelm. Just 5 tools, one for each finger, to grip your mornings with full control. Let's get into it. Tool 1. The morning mission statement. This is your anchor. Before you check your phone, before the coffee, before the noise, ask yourself one question. What kind of person do I want to be today? Write it down. Out loud if you can. This is not a to-do list. It's a to-be list. Example. Today I lead with patience. I create, not just consume. I act with purpose, not impulse. Why this works? According to behavioral psychology, articulating your values first thing in the morning activates your executive function, your mental compass. It primes your decisions, shapes your identity, and rewires your emotional response. Marcus did it in meditations every day. You can do it in one sentence. Repeat it daily. Over time, this becomes your personal code. Tool 2. The 3-line journal. You don't need a fancy notebook, just 3 lines, every morning. Line 1. What am I grateful for? Line 2. What challenge will I face today? Line 3. What virtue will I practice? This structure mirrors Stoic thought. It trains perspective, prepares resilience, and reinforces character. Example. Grateful. Quiet time before my kids wake up. Challenge. I'm likely to be interrupted at work. Virtue. Patience under pressure. Why this works? Positive psychology shows that gratitude increases serotonin. Anticipation reduces stress. And virtues, when written, activate behavioral intention. It's fast, it's focused, and it builds emotional discipline. Tool 3. The movement trigger. Philosophy begins in the mind, but the body must follow. Do one physical action right after waking up. Just one. Stretch, push-ups, cold shower, walk barefoot outside, anything to activate your system. Marcus walked the palace gardens. You walk your hallway. This isn't about fitness, it's about state change. You're teaching your nervous system. The day has begun. I'm in charge now. Why this works? Movement increases dopamine and cortisol balance. It clears grogginess. It tells your brain to shift from default mode into action mode. Keep it short. Keep it daily. No perfection required. Only movement. Tool 4. The noise blockade. Your phone is not your friend before 7 a.m. Turn it off. Put it in another room. Use an analog alarm. No notifications, no email, no feeds. You are not the internet's receptionist. This is your mental sovereignty zone. Why this works? Behavioral psychology shows that early screen exposure reduces focus, increases anxiety, and hijacks dopamine cycles. One scroll can destroy an hour of clarity. Protect your fortress. 1 hour is all you need. If you want extra structure, try this. First 10 minutes. Right next 10. Move. Final 10. Plan or read. No screens. Just strength. Tool 5. The night before ritual. Morning success begins the night before. Lay out your journal, your clothes, your cup. Set your alarm with intention. Ask yourself before bed, what would make tomorrow easier to start? This reduces what psychologists call activation resistance, the friction that causes most people to fail habits. You don't rise at 5 a.m. because you're weak. You fail because your environment is working against you. Fix the system, not the self. Why this works? According to B.J. Fogg, author of Tiny Habits, success is less about willpower, more about reducing decision points. You want your morning to feel like a slide, not a struggle. Build your morning the night before, and you take control before the world even has a chance. Now let's talk consistency. All 5 tools can feel overwhelming. That's normal. Start with one. Just one. Choose the tool that feels most natural today. Do it for a week. Then stack the next. This is the power of layering, not leaping. And track it. Make a simple habit grid. 5 rows. 7 columns. Each box is a day. Put a check mark when completed. This visual reinforcement strengthens commitment. It's not about perfection. It's about pattern. One more tip. Set a meaningful reason behind your practice. Marcus didn't rise for aesthetics. He rose for survival. What's your reason? Is it peace, confidence, leadership, legacy? Name it. Own it. Write it. Place it where you see it when you wake up. Let your why shake you awake harder than your alarm ever could. Bonus challenge. The 30-day morning power test. Here's a challenge. For 30 days, wake up 1 hour earlier than usual. Apply at least 3 of the 5 tools. Track the results. Journal the impact. Then ask yourself on day 31, am I more in control? If yes, you've built something unshakable. If not, you've learned what needs to shift. No loss. Only feedback. Power isn't built in one morning, but it starts in one. You've come this far. You've walked through ancient Rome, stood beside a philosopher king, heard the science, felt the strategy. You've been handed the tools. Now the question is not whether you can wake up early. The question is, what kind of life are you waking up for? Let that sink in. Because at 5 a.m. no one is watching. No audience, no applause. Just you, and that quiet choice between rising or retreating. This is where real strength is forged, not in grand gestures, but in silent moments. When you open your eyes and choose clarity over comfort, will over weakness, creation over consumption. Marcus Aurelius didn't need motivation, he needed mastery. He faced death, betrayal, and war with the same mindset you're learning to build. Because he knew, if you don't rule your mornings, someone else will rule your life. So here's the truth. You don't need another book, another app, another excuse. You need to rise, not for productivity, not for Instagram, but for sovereignty. Because the world will always be loud, but power belongs to those who begin in silence. So tomorrow when your alarm rings, don't just wake up. Stand up. Say the words, "This day is mine," and act like it. Because clarity is your weapon, stillness is your shield, and the morning is your throne. You don't have to get it perfect, you just have to begin. So here's your challenge. Try it for 7 days. Set your alarm for 5 a.m., use the tools, track the change, see what happens. Then come back and comment, I showed up. Let's build a community of modern Stoics, people who lead, who build, who rise while others sleep. And if this resonated, do 2 things. Like this video, because it helps others find the same fire. Subscribe if you want more practical philosophy, mindset mastery, and timeless strategy to lead your life. Share this with a friend who's ready to stop surviving and start choosing. Because in a distracted world, the most powerful person is the one who begins with intention. The alarm is calling. So what will you do? Wake up, or stay asleep in someone else's story? The choice is yours.